Well, what a delightful holiday film you guys made.
It is like a dream. It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead. Standing before me was death. But I'd never been so happy.
I mean, it really stuck with me. In fact, this is true, I got spooked by the shadow of my own fiddle leaf tree in the corner of my room after I watched this movie last night.
No way, that's
it's for real. I was like, well, actually, Lily, you said that the scariest part of this film was how real it all felt. So, did you go home with nightmares too? Were you seeing shadows on the wall?
Well, I was saying earlier, weirdly, I didn't have too many nightmares that I can remember, like while we were shooting, but lately, I've had a couple vampiric nightmares.
He's coming.
He might be, you know, probably just because we've been talking about this movie so much, but I have had a couple nightmares. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Rob is such an incredible world builder, and so I think, you know, you step onto these sets and it really feels like you're stepping into like a world that is like so complete. And so yeah, I felt it was very eerie for sure.
And from the audience perspective, you totally get swept away, to your point, you know, it's just like, it does feel real. Nicholas, while I was watching you, I don't know if it was the vampire of it all, but sometimes I was like, I'm watching a young Tom Cruise on this screen right now. Do you see it? Like,
don't be afraid. I'm going to give you the choice I never had.
Now that you mention it, I'm
you
like,
know?
yeah.
A little interview with the vampire era, you know? But
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I'll take it.
right? I was gonna say. Well, but you know, obviously you've been in a vampire film. There's the source material, of course. But what kind of references did you have as you were drawing inspiration for this film and your character?
I mean, one of the nice things about the novel, obviously, that it's based on is that a lot of it's written in letter form, so you can kind of get into the headspace a little bit using those. But also, this story is so specific to Rob that his script was so descriptive and beautifully detailed in terms of how he described the world, but also the language that the characters used. It all just felt like it was really between that and then the storyboards and him, you know, having such a clear vision of how the camera was going to move through these scenes in this world. You really kind of got a full sense of where your character was meant to be and what they were supposed to be doing inhabiting that world.
And I'm sure by the time you're on that set with all those costumes and the makeup and even like the lighting and set design and production design you were talking about, you could just click right into it, right?
It's, yeah, all of those things just help you kind of transport it. Yeah.
In fact, Lily, you worked with a movement coach, right, to kind of choreograph Ellen's possessions. What was the most difficult part of that?
Oh God, the most difficult part of it, I mean, it's definitely, it's very physically and emotionally demanding work. And I also feel that, you know, when you're moving your body in that way that you're not, you know, and personally I am not doing on a daily basis.
Sure, of course. You're not?
I'm not, weirdly,
I normally
no.
do that most mornings
You
when
do
I wake
that.
up, yeah, a little possession.
Warm up the face a little bit, you know?
Yeah, but you know, I feel like it almost brings up emotion because you're kind of literally speaking, shaking things up, like, you know, within yourself. And so in that way, the physicality and the emotion kind of like went hand in hand. So it was kind of a helpful tool for me. The most difficult part was probably just like getting it right. I feel like, because I also like, it meant so much to me. I wanted it to be right. So, yeah, and I also like, I wanted, you know, every moment every physical moment is like it's an external manifestation of what she's going through internally. So I wanted those moments not only to kind of look right physically, but also to be lending themselves to the storytelling and be conveying something truthful to the viewer.
You want it to feel right too when we're watching.
Absolutely,
it.
and also doing it all in the corset. A lot of the time,
How
it's
is
not.
that?
It's tough, you know.
How do you breathe?
It's very constricting, and it's, you know, of course, I think almost like a symbol of, you know, just kind of the you know, utter oppression of women at the time. Totally. And yeah, so it was tough. It changes everything about the way that you breathe, the way that you hold yourself. So we rehearsed in the corset a lot.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. Its desire is to consume all life on Earth. Only you can redeem us.
Willem Dafoe has worked on a handful of legendary films with your dad. What was it like now to get a chance to collaborate with him yourself?
He was amazing. I mean, I've always been such a huge fan of Willem's, and so getting to work with him was just like a dream come true.
Had you guys met prior to this, or?
No.
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 Wow.
We all met for the first time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about the first time you see Bill Skarsgård as Orlok. I mean, what's that reaction, and how did it kind of change the vibe on set?
I mean, he's transformed so completely in this movie. It's incredible to witness. First we heard his voice in rehearsals. We heard a recording of his voice, and I was like, wow, like how he breathes, the depth of the voice, like all of those elements. No, exactly, all of those elements really add up to being something. First of all, just that, but then the makeup and how he physically imposed himself into that, and on top of it, it was like. He's just a wonderful performance. So like it then makes our job again easier because you're in a scene with something that feels so authentic and real and grounded in so much history and truth that it's a wonderful. I mean, he's just brilliant in the movie. Yeah.
Was there some levity between takes, offset? Like it couldn't have been all dreadful, right?
We're having a barrel of laughs.
Oh, good.
No, we were saying like whilst we were shooting that we were like we're not going to have any funny stories. But when they ask on the press tour like any funny stories, we were like no, we don't really have any. But not because we weren't having fun, just because we were like everyone was so focused on trying to achieve these difficult, complex shots. It was just hyper-focused. But the joy came from like when you achieved one of those and when we got it right, we all felt like,
Well, let's pretend.
Okay. Good to see you.
That we've only just seen each other instead of having a chat 3 seconds ago next door.
Never.
Yeah.
Since I last saw you.
Nicholas, we were dying over you reuniting with Hugh Grant. I mean, 21 years since started in About a Boy, if you could believe it.
Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly. Give it a rest. Killing me softly.
I have to imagine hanging out with him now as two adults is a lot different than when you were 11.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's censored himself a little bit for me as an 11-year-old, which was nice of him.
Is that right? He did?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know, from what I remember.
I'm sure you are exchanging stories too now that you're a dad and showing off pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was nice to connect with him again, you know, as an adult and just get to hang out. He was such a formative part of my career and life that it was, really happy to reunite with him.
I love it.
There is a devil in this world, and I have met him.
But you could never please me as he could. I'm ready.
What kind of experience do you hope people have in the theaters when they're watching this film? Because obviously mine might be different than somebody else's, but...
I mean, I hope that people just like surrender to the experience completely.
Succumb to the darkness.
Succumb to the darkness as well. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like we were saying, like this movie is such an immersive experience. It's such a world, and so I hope that audience members will just allow themselves to be completely sucked into the world and just, it's really like an experience, and I hope people will just kind of like, succumb to that. Succumb to the
I was gonna say, like, as like grotesque as it is, it's really stunning, anchored by your two beautiful performances. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Hey,
Yeah, it
thank
really
you.
was a ride and an experience.